And you knew Joe McCarthy?
And Joe McCarthy. I did the critical work for Joe McCarthy. I did a special 24-page report from the Library of Congress, which identified the source of communism, not as the little Jewish shoemakers, which Congress claimed they were, but as the international bankers, the Rothschilds. And you see, communism itself was anti-capitalist. Yet supposedly you had capitalism and communism. And the Rothschilds financed both parties.
So much for that.
Yeah.
Now, you also broke the original story on the Federal Reserve. That's quite a detective story. And you did that through your acquaintanceship with Ezra Pound, right?
Well, not only, it was not merely an acquaintanceship. You see, I had become Ezra Pound's legs. He was imprisoned for life without trial in a mental institution, and he couldn't go out to the library and get books. And when I came to visit him, he said, go to the Library of Congress and see what you could find about the Federal Reserve System. And of course, at that time, I had never heard of the Federal Reserve System, like most Americans. And so I went to the library about this esoteric subject, and I found the whole world opened up. And I came back and showed Ezra what I found out, and he said, you've got to write this as a detective story.
And that was the original breakthrough on exposing the Federal Reserve. And
oh, there's 18 copies of my book floating around now under different names, and it's all my work.
And all they do is change the author. They don't even bother to change the text.
Well, some of them have even printed it with my name on it.
Oh,
well, it gives it more authenticity.
And so you were originally born in Roanoke, Virginia.
Yeah.
And how long did you live there?
My family lived there until the height of the Depression. In 1934, my father was out of work, and so he found a job in the town of Stanton, which is 100 miles north.
And that's where you live today?
And I've stayed there ever since.
But you, as far as your education, I think you went to school in Mexico and New York, or where? Tell us about your education.
Well, my principal education was at Washington and Lee University in Lexington, Virginia, which was founded by George Washington himself, and which was, after the Civil War, General Lee, he was offered enormous job opportunities in New York to head life insurance companies and banks and everything, but instead he chose to, it was a small struggling college at that time, and he chose to become president of Washington Lee. And when it became Washington Lee, it was Washington Academy, and after he became the president, they changed it to the name Washington Lee, which it has today.
And what year did you go into school there?
1946, after leaving the Air Force. I served throughout World War II in the United States Air Force.
Oh, that's right. And I remember you telling a story during an interview about marching up and down in Florida on the beach, mentioning Roosevelt. You were talking, tell them about that, the little story about Fella.
Well, during World War II, it was remarkable, but there was absolutely no sentiment for the war against the troops, because I was one of them. And we would march to work every day singing ribald rhymes about, I love Fella, I love America, I hate Wall. And we were marching up and down singing this as a march, you know. It was all totally disrespectful. Now, one of these kids, they were all kids like myself, they had not the slightest allegiance to Franklin D. Roosevelt whatsoever.
And you said